If you would like to make a statement for or against any case this morning, we'd appreciate it if you would sign in with Eileen. If you're an applicant, you don't need to do that. It's just if you're supporting or would like to make a statement against a case, we'd like to get your name over here. Secondly, I want to welcome two new commissioners, Teresa and Alex. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Takes a lot of guts.
It does call into question your decision-making process.
And we appreciate it. Eileen, why don't you go ahead and call the roll, please?
Commissioner Uranga,
Here?
Commissioner Underwood, Commissioner Lear,
Here.
Commissioner Jimenez,
Present.
Commissioner Fisher,
Commissioner what?
Fisher,
Oh, I didn't hear the Fisher.
Oh.
Here.
Commissioner Acosta, Chair Zerniak.
Here. Okay, so I'd like to hear a motion on approval or changes to the agenda. Staff, do we have anything? No? Albert? Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. I need a motion on approval of minutes for the meeting of April 25th, 2024.
Motion to approve minutes as presented.
Second.
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Is there any old business? Albert? No. Okay. New business, case number SU 24-007.
Good morning. Please state your name and address for the record.
Christopher Valencia, 845 North Motel Boulevard.
Do you affirm the testimony you're about to give today is the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chris?
Morning,
just
Commissioners.
One second.
Yes, sir.
So for the new commissioners, if you've never attended one of these meetings, generally the procedure is for staff to present the case, for the applicant to state. We allow proponents and opponents to come up. You can ask a question anytime you want, all right? And then if and when we decide to have a motion, we need to state the motion in the affirmative. Whether you agree with it or not, that's just a procedural thing. If you vote no on a case, we need to have you state why you voted no. Okay, I'll bring that up again as we go along. Okay?
Morning,
Okay.
Chair. Morning, Commissioners. Welcome.
Good morning.
For our first case this morning, 5A, case number SU 24 for a special use permit, -007. We have the owner applicant here today. Her name's Doña Sanchez and Eduardo Hernandez, located at 757 San Isidro. They live in a D2 zone, a medium density residential, and the request is a special use permit to allow the keeping of two animals, large animals, on a half-acre property. Here's the property as itself. It's the half-acre property right there, off of San Isidro. Here's the land use aerial, pretty dense here, coming off of Doña and here at San Isidro. The subject property is a half-acre property located within the D2 medium-density residential zone. Per the county assessor's office, the existing 1,260 square foot home was built in '79, and it's assessed as residential. The access is from, I said, San Isidro Road, and it's a county paved right-of-way road. Here's the close-up of the home, the parcel, shared driveway. Here's the home with the horse arena right there. They're in the middle of a D2 zone surrounded by D1L. There's a mixed use across the street and surrounded by pretty dense residential. The applicant's requesting a special use permit on a half-acre parcel to keep two horses. So where 3/4 of an acre is the minimum to keep a large animal, as stated by the Chapter 35511 of the UDC of keeping of large animals. Here's the survey of the plat survey, dwelling right there, and then the arena right here. There were 21 notification letters mailed to the surrounding area. It was also posted in the Las Cruces Sun on the 14th of April. Signs were posted in timely manner. There was one letter of opposition, which is sent in it's inside the commissioner packet with pictures. And I did receive this morning 2 letters of support of the SUP, and those are the printed ones I gave this morning. The notification signs were posted in front of the property, there in front of the arena as well, in front of the house, and the area of notification signs. The signs of notifications for this area are about 300 feet from the property line. Subject parcel, looking down the driveway, the shared driveway from San Isidro, you can see the arena here to the side of the house. Here's the residence. There is a home that is pretty close to the arena, and then across the street are the homes. It's a pretty compact neighborhood. Behind the person who's taking the picture, that is San Isidro Road. This is their neighbor here as well, and this is the shared driveway. Looking at the stall to the right is the residence, and to the rear is the neighbor as well, and the shared driveway from San Isidro. The stall to the left, the neighbor right across the street, and approaching the arena. And the arena itself, the shade structure, there was a horse out there, I did notice. And again, you can just see the neighbors right there. Looking up San Isidro, looking up east way, and then also looking down Isidro is it's a minor arterial, as well as a shared driveway to the arena. Neighbors on both sides, and then their house is there right in front of the neighbor. Looking at the applicable plans, policies, and the criteria for the approval. Before we moved on, I wanted to show the Chapter 350, Section 511, the keeping of animals. The main purpose of that is, of the keeping of animals is the following regulations are established for the keeping of animals on residentially zoned districts. They are the D1 right there, and the D2, which are included in the classes of domestic horses, mules, cattle, sheep, even deer and elk. The keeping of large animals shall be allowed on properties of 3/4 of an acre or larger. If properties are less than 3/4 of an acre in size, a special use permit is needed. I also wanted to call out on Chapter 35511 3A. Properties 3/4 of an acre or more and no larger than 1 acre are allowed 1 large animal. And that properties 1 acre or more and no larger than 2 acres shall not exceed a density of 2 large animals per acre. Looking at the decisional criteria in the analysis, there is no potential, the traffic impacts are minimal. The property will remain residential. The proposed SUP will not have an impact on traffic flows, and the access to the property will be from San Isidro Road, the county paved road. Their property is only a 1/2 acre, and a minimum, like we said earlier, a minimum of 3/4 of an acre is needed for large animals. There is no need for commercial activity occurring on the site within the residential zone. There's no additional water or sewer needs anticipated for the horse or 2 horses, and the existing infrastructure in place is in place to support the proposed use. There's not been an environmental analysis done for this property, as well as the applicant states that the impact would be minimal, if at all. The maintenance of keeping a large animal, the 1 horse, would be within the regular process of keeping a large pet, as the applicant says. The regular cleaning of the stalls and spraying of water would keep down the dust and flies at a minimum, and the keeping of 2 large animals would double the density of what is allowed by the P&Z with an SUP for 1 horse. Therefore, the doubling the impacts of the surrounding area and the neighbors. As stated by Chapter 350, 511, A3 and A3B, properties 1 acre or more and no larger than 2 acres shall not exceed a density of 2 large animals per acre. The implementation and best management practices for the development. The applicant will implement the best management practices for keeping and maintaining of the animals as identified by 350, 522. Applicant states that there's a weekly cleaning of chores that are maintained to keep their horses safe, clean, and healthy. The staff analysis, the applicant is requesting a special use permit on a 1/2 acre parcel for keeping of 2 large animals, where 3/4 acre is a minimum acreage in a residential zone to keep a large animal. The staff analysis indicates the request complies with most of the decisional criteria of the UDC ordinance. However, it does not comply with the density requirements for the keeping of large animals on Chapter 350, Ordinance 511. The property is outside of any incorporated municipal zoning authority, and it's within the jurisdiction of Doña County. Therefore, the Planning and Zoning Commission has the jurisdiction to hear the case. The administrative authority and duties of the Planning and Zoning Commission may receive, hear, and make the final determinations to approve and approve of the conditions or deny applications for SUPs as prescribed by and subject to the procedures established therein. The public notice requirements have been met and prescribed by the SUP. The pursuant to decisional criteria of SUP is not consistent with the health, safety, and general welfare of the residents of the county per the intent of the UDC due to the impact of the surrounding property. Again, the lot is half the size required to keep the 2 large horses. Pursuant to 35502 G9, the zoning administrator, Planning and Zoning Commission, or the Board of Commissions or BOCC may apply conditions to the SUP in order to protect the public health, safety, and welfare. Our staff recommendations, and based on our findings of fact, the staff analysis and agency comments, the staff is recommending denial of case SU 24007 to allow 2 horses on a half-acre lot where 3/4 is the minimum to keep a large animal. But if the Planning and Zoning Commission were to approve this SUP, the community development would support the permitting of 1 horse. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you.
I stand for questions if you have any
Questions?
questions, as well as the applicant is here this morning.
Chair, I have a question. It's my understanding that there is currently a horse there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this request is basically to bring in another one.
The initial complaint from an honest constituent was stating that there was more than 1 horse there. They want to keep the 2 horses because there's always been
Okay.
2 horses.
All
There's
right.
always been 2 horses there, and the applicant will tell you to break up a horse is usually they're paired. This case is also questioning the, I apologize, I'm tripping over my words. They want to keep 2 horses, but we basically are saying the 1 horse because based off of the ordinance of 1 horse per acre.
Okay,
Therefore, we support the 1 horse that's always been there. Their applicant is requesting 2 horses.
okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Sorry about that.
So they're already in violation.
Correct. But
Is-
they purchased the property with the understanding that they could have horses as well as the property's always had horses.
And do we know if there's been any record of complaints before?
There has been no record of complaints before.
One of the letters that we received, 749 San Isidro, they live right across the street. Can you show
Yes,
us where,
yes.
how close
Yes.
this particular address is?
Just to show you the subject parcel, here's the front of the house, the residence house. Their house is right here.
So that's 749.
Yes, sir.
The closest neighbor is in support of them having another horse. It appears to
Yes,
be.
sir.
The person who's closest to the pin.
Yes, sir. I am going to go to this, here you go. The 749 is the number 11.
Okay.
And we don't know where the anonymous complaint came from. We're thinking it's number 16 just the nature of the complaint itself, and then them being close to the property line.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
if I can just make a comment. I want to clarify that the ordinance only allows 1 horse with a special use permit. So the recommendation comes from that it's really only allowable that way with 1 horse.
So even the 2 horses would be beyond that.
Correct. The SUP would not allow the 2 horses because of the way the ordinance is written.
So if there's always, well, not always, but if there's been a horse there for a long time and nobody has ever complained, does that give them a right to have a horse? I'm trying to remember the term for that, but I can't.
No, because there is the legal nonconforming clause in the ordinance. However, they would have to prove that the horse was there continuously since the ordinance was amended and that there were no periods of time where there was not a horse.
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Yes.
How long has the one horse been there on the property?
Say it again, sir, I'm sorry, I apologize.
How long has the one horse been there on the property?
So they did purchase the property a year and a half ago.
A year
So
and a half
this-
ago?
So this horse right now has been there for the last year and a half.
Okay.
This is a new, they have purchased
Didn't you
the
mention there
property.
was two, that there's always been two?
Yes, since the applicant moving in has always had two, correct?
So there's been two on the property for over a year now.
Yes, sir.
And prior to that, the previous owners also had horses?
The applicant purchased the property with that understanding. They purchased it for that reason.
So, Mr. Chair, I mean, I think this goes to the question that you were looking at. I mean, could we look at is there any kind of grandfather clause, anything within our UDC that would permit?
Well, that was the question.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, I can't, you know. Let me ask Sean to come up for a second.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You came in at the right time.
Or the wrong time, we'll see.
Teresa, Alex, Sean is the head of zoning enforcement, in case you don't know him. What's your official title?
Building Official Assistant Director.
Thank you.
Good morning. Please state your name and address for the record.
Sean Vick, 845 North Motel Boulevard.
Do you affirm the testimony you're about to give today is the truth under penalty of law?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. And can you raise the mic?
Has there been any complaints about this property that you're aware of?
I believe Kevin and Priscilla had a case on this.
He did?
I believe they do. Yeah, they would, Kevin and Priscilla would be the ones to talk to regarding the zoning. I know it's gone back and forth regarding the horse. It's a horse,
Okay. All right,
but I believe they're in attendance as well, sir.
yeah. Let me have the applicant come up.
Chair, as you know, just so you know, the code enforcements are here as well. If you'd
Yeah.
like to speak to them as well.
Got it, thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Doña Sanchez, 757 San Isidro Road.
And do you affirm the testimony you're about to give today is the truth under penalty of law?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ms. Sanchez, you can pull that down.
Okay, thank you.
I would do it too if I was just standing there.
Okay, my name is Doña Sanchez. I'm 23 years old. Me and my fiance purchased the home last year under the circumstances that we were unaware that the property was not allowed horses. When we went to the house viewing, the previous owners had horses. So it was a perfect place for us. I'm a vet tech at Callista Animal Hospital, and he works for El Paso Electric as an electrical lineman. So it was just the perfect little area for us. It's our first home together. It's a great little area to raise our future children in. Yeah, we were just very unaware of all this going on. We have surrounding neighbors that have large animals. So we definitely were under the impression that it was okay to have large animals. That is it.
Well, okay.
I've got a question, Chair. So, quick question. When you were purchasing the property, were you told, did you buy it for sale by owner and or you had somebody representing you?
No, we bought it through, yeah, we had a real estate agent.
You had a real estate
Yes, sir.
agent, okay. And did that real estate agent disclose that horses were allowed, 2 horses on the property?
He did. He was saying we didn't see any problem or no issue with it, and he was unaware of any issues as well.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Yes, I have a question. What is your, Ms. Sanchez, what is your cleaning schedule for these stalls?
Me and my fiance both work full-time jobs, so we try to do it weekly. as much as we can.
And what do you do with the manure when you clean it?
So we do clean their pins to keep their area clean. We do move it to the left side of our arena, and then we try to spread it out, and then we would water it occasionally. If you guys are aware, manure can be used as fertilizer. So we try to use that to grow some grass in our arena to let our horses be turned out and have a bigger grazing area.
So the manure stays on the property?
Excuse me?
So the manure stays on the property?
Yes, ma'am.
When you clean the stalls?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
I have another question, Chair.
Yep.
So we had one complainant send us some photos in regards to the manure around the property. And I just wanted to verify that those photos were correct. Have you seen those photos?
I did see those photos. I know that they sent in where there was like multiple horses. Me and my fiance both come from both of our families have ranches. So we grew up around that. We own cattle. His family will come in occasionally because they live near us, and they will stay with us, and they will bring their horses just for a night or two. And I did see the pictures that they took were one of those nights. The horses are never there longer than a day or two. They just need a place to stay. There's water there, there's feed there, a place for them to stretch their legs. So that's why we keep them there while they come and visit.
Okay, I just had you know, the manure seems like it's older, it's been there for quite some time on the photos, and that's why that was my concern, because, you know, neighbors usually complain because of the flies, you know, of the manure. And I'm sure that that's why this gentleman that is against, you know, approving this has sent in those photos. So I just wanted to verify if the photos was one day of manure or a couple of days or a week or
Most likely like a couple days.
couple of days.
I do know that we have fly traps on our property. We try to keep the flies to a minimal as much as possible. We have them hanging from the barn ceiling, fly traps, multiple areas. We also keep fly spray on hand, so we go ahead and use fly spray to spray our horses, and we spray the area. We do live in the county, out of the cities. There are flies. We also live close to an irrigation ditch, and water attracts flies and mosquitoes.
Thank you.
Don't go away. Christine, we don't have the authority, do we, to allow 2 horses? If the special use permit only allows 1, we can't say, well, we're going to let you do 2.
That's correct. If the special use is approved, only 1 horse can be allowed by ordinance.
Okay. So my question to you is, what does that, I mean, if you can only have 1 horse, what do you do with the other one?
We would have to find a different solution. My fiance's family lives about 2 hours away, near Lordsburg, New Mexico. We would probably have to take one there. It would be really disappointing to us. Those are our pets. We love them. They're basically our dogs. We would probably have to find another place to live.
Did you hear what the planning director said? What Christine said was, we don't have the authority to allow you to have 2 horses because the ordinance limits it to 1 with the special use permit. So that's a problem. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone here, Eileen, that signed up to speak?
Steve Montañez. Good morning. Please state your name and address for the record.
Steve Montañez, 4335 Kingston Road.
Do you affirm the testimony you're about to give today is the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So just for full disclosure, Mr. Montañez was a planning commissioner until about, what, a month ago?
Good morning, Commissioners. Yes, I told you I'd see you soon. I didn't expect it to be this soon. I'm here on behalf of Mr. Davin Lopez, who could not be here today. And a couple of points of clarity. Chris mentioned there was no complaints. However, I do understand Mr. Lopez has complained directly to Christina. Is that correct?
I did receive a complaint.
Okay, I just wanted to clear that. So I worked with Mr. Lopez on the property. Can we go to the slide that shows the neighboring properties, please? Thank you.
And Mr. Chair, Mr. Lopez is property owner number 16 on the notification maps.
Thank you.
The aerial?
Yeah, the aerial's fine. Okay.
I apologize.
That's okay.
That one right there. Is that
That's
one?
fine. So Mr. Lopez, his property is, would be directly south. So there's a shared easement there for the applicant's property, and then there's a multifamily unit right to the left as you're driving, and Mr. Lopez's property is directly south of this property. Sure. Yes. So that would be, is that correct? Property 16?
Put up the notification map, please. There.
Thank you. Yes. So, I mean, there is a direct effect of this, of this SUP. What I can tell you is that I have worked with Mr. Lopez on this property quite a bit, and I am familiar with the previous owners. The previous owners did have one horse on that property, and they took very good care of it. There were no complaints from any other neighbors. They were, they were very courteous in cleanup. It looked very good. Since then, unfortunately, we've seen quite a few piles of manure that's sat there for a while. It's resulted in flies. You've seen from the letter. I'm just going to read just a few excerpts from the letter, but there are many things to be considered. This includes why zoning was developed in the first place. Reasons likely include to protect the health of the residents in a residential zone from excess flies, which transmit many diseases, to protect the property valuations and protect the health of these large animals themselves. Also, directly, so that would be south of his property, there is quite a bit of irrigation that, especially over the summer, results in a lot of humidity and more flies. So combine that with horse manure, it's not a very pleasant experience for this neighbor. This property was sold about 1.5 years ago, and unfortunately, we just have not seen this property very well taken care of. We have seen upwards of 4 horses back there, and they have been there for a while. This is what prompted Mr. Lopez to start issuing complaints here to the county. And one action that was taken, it looks like there was, I don't know what you want to call it, there was a screen, some kind of visible barrier from his fence right adjacent to the arena, basically so nothing can be seen. But unfortunately, you can still smell it, and it is attracting flies, a very big increase in flies. So on behalf of Mr. Lopez, I think the neighbors in this highly condensed area just want to be able to enjoy their property without any other complications. I do believe 4 horses is a little bit excessive. I think 1 horse, as long as it's very well taken care of, would be acceptable. Mr. Lopez is also being very, he is considering a conditional approval upon the following, full cleanup of the property, addressing in writing as part of the SUP if the applicant will be required to remove the manure from the property on a weekly basis, no hosting of any additional horses, and the county to also conduct their inspections and enforcements. And we all understand that enforcement can be, a little bit of an issue. It could be a little bit problematic. So I personally do recommend on behalf of Mr. Lopez that this special use permit is denied. Thank you.
Any questions of Steve? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else, Eileen?
No, sir, that signed up, no.
All right. Enforcement is here. Sean, who's representing enforcement beside? Priscilla, you want to come up, please?
Good morning. Please state your name and address for the record.
845 North Motel Boulevard.
Do you affirm the testimony you're about to give today is the truth under penalty of law?
Yes.
Thank you.
So what's the complaint that you've received?
So we received a complaint saying that,
You want to pull that mic down?
sorry, we received a complaint saying that they had horses on the property. So when we went out to do our inspection, we did take pictures, and we did see one horse at the time. So I went ahead and sent her the violation notice, and then she came in and spoke to Chris, and this is how that got started.
Okay. Any questions?
Yeah, so it's been mentioned that on occasion other horses are brought in. It's been confirmed that other horses are brought in. Is there any violation to them allowing horses to come and hang out for a short period of time?
This is the first
Assuming we would
complaint
pass-
that
assuming
we've
the
ever had
SCP
and that
would
I've
move
ever
forward.
seen in the system, so.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioners, I would like to mention the applicant has stated that due to the nature and the culture of them being ranchers, bringing the horses in, I think that could also be a condition, is that allowing the one horse would be approving the SUP, but yet with the condition is that they could not add additional horses, even though they do have family members that come in and do the work and then leave. So maybe just allowing more than one horse for a small amount of time would be, I think, a sufficient condition.
You know, Mr. Chair, that's essentially what I was getting at is, is there anything to prevent them from, you're allowed to have a dog on your property. You have family that comes in and visits, they bring their 3 dogs. I mean, they're not going to be there for a long period of time. I kind of see this as something very similar. I myself grew up, in the ranching community, ranching cows, horses, chickens, you name it. And, when you're in that lifestyle, people come and they bring, for lack of a better word, their family pets. When they come, they hang out, they'll share, do some barrel racing, do some roping, and head home. I just want to make sure that if we do move forward with permitting one horse, that, either one, they have clear direction that they're allowed to have additional horses for a short period of time, or give them clear direction that only one horse is permitted, period.
At all.
We want to make sure that we provide the owner clarity on that.
Chris, how close is the ring to property number 16? Does it,
It's pretty close. I would say within 10 feet, if not closer. They, by this image, I think, just approaching the parcel, this was what's, not per se concerning, but that blue house right here, that's number 16 property. I would say you're 10 feet from the corner of the steel post to the front door.
Mr. Chair,
yes.
there is a provision in the code that says that a horse cannot be kept within 35 feet of an adjacent dwelling. So that other criteria that's in the code would also have to be followed if this special permit is approved.
So that would force them to actually bring the ring away from that residence, right? Make the ring smaller.
Correct.
And then it's smaller than normal as we speak, so.
All right. I'm going to entertain a motion on this. Yep, please.
I move that we approve the special use permit for case SU 24-007 to allow 2 horses on the property, which is less than 0.75 acres.
No, we can't allow 2. You can say 1.
Okay, so here's my question is, the thing we're voting on states here 2 horses. So,
I think it's incorrect. I mean, the staff can ask for whatever they want,
okay,
but we don't have to give it to them.
all right. All right, so I'll modify my motion then for case SU 24-007, special use permit to allow 1 horse on the property that's shown in the presentation.
And let me add something that, now remember, so this is for the new members. Remember, Dan isn't stating his position. He's just giving us a motion so that we can vote on it, okay? So I'm going to add, if we approve that, I would put as a condition that no other horses be allowed on the property at any time, just the 1 horse.
Yep, I'm okay with that amendment.
Okay, thank you.
So do you have to repeat the motion again? You're conditional, it's a
Yeah,
condition?
I would add the condition that no other horse would be allowed on the property at any time.
Okay, so I need a second.
I second.
Okay, so now we close it to the public, and we can talk about it if you want to. Does anybody have anything to say?
Mr. Chair, I'd be inclined to amend that a motion to allow horses for temporary periods of time. In addition to the 1.
Chair, I think we have, the issue is that we have conflicting amendments.
Yeah. Well, okay, so,
But we have a motion on the floor. Happy to
Yeah.
move forward.
yeah. What do we want to do? Okay, so I think what we need, if we're going to do this with the amendments, we need to vote on those 2 amendments separately before we vote on the main motion.
Okay, so we're gonna vote on which, if either amendment is gonna be included in the motion.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Okay? So we'll take, let's take Mario's amendment first. So the amendment is,
So if I may, tighten it up a little bit, if we could add to that an amendment that would permit additional horses on the property for no longer than a period of 3 days consecutive.
okay, so I need a second on the amendment. Now, you don't have to put in, if I don't get a second, the motion dies. Okay,
I believe that amendment would, clarify and assist the property owners. And, because one of the things that does help with is, training and, ensuring that your your horse is obedient and whatnot, and bringing in others that are in fact trained and obedient. So that was something that would be helpful not only to the owners of the horse, but also the property owners nearby. So I think 3 days is more than enough time to bring somebody in, bring horses in, hang out for the weekend, and send them on their way. So that would be a little background behind my request in making some change to the initial motion.
okay, so I still need a second. Okay, so if I can't get a second, the motion dies. So let's take the motion. Now, Dan and I have agreed for the main motion. So the second motion is that no additional horses be allowed on the property at any time. So can I get a second on that?
I'll second that.
Who did?
Oh, I did.
You did. You
I can't
guys-
second my own
No,
motion.
I-
can I? Sorry.
Mr. Chair, I'll second.
I'll read up on parliamentary rules.
Thank you, Mario. Okay, so I've got a second.
I second.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
On the motion, aye.
Aye.
This is on the amendment. This is
On the
just on the
amendment, aye.
amendment.
On the amendment.
Aye.
Okay. And opposed, same sign. So the amendment's approved. Now we can move to the main motion. And this is to allow 1 horse
Right,
with a special use permit.
exactly.
Okay, and with the amendment that no other horses be allowed at any time. I didn't realize this was gonna get so complicated. All right, so I've got a motion, and I've got a second.
Right.
Mario seconded. Okay, so all those in favor signify, we're going to do roll call. All right.
Commissioner Odanga?
No. The reasons I'm saying no is 3 reasons. One is the evidence of large amounts of manure on the property. The second one is they misinformed the petitioner about her property when she bought it. She was misinformed, and unfortunately, you know, the UDC chapter code 350-51 clearly states that there's only 1 horse allowed per 3/4 of an acre, and it's only half an acre.
Commissioner Lear?
No. My reason is that the D2 zoning, the medium density residential zoning, does not allow horses on a property of this size.
Commissioner Jimenez?
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher?
No. Reasons being due to the density again, and also the comment that the manure stays on the property and it is not being removed from the premises. Or I did not hear any way that it was being treated so that it would properly treated so you wouldn't have the fly infestation.
Chair Zarniak?
No. I just think it violates the ordinance. And allowing 1 horse doesn't solve the problem that they want 2 horses plus additional horses once in a while. So I don't see that approving this does her any good. Thank you. The motion is defeated. And the answer is no. I'm sorry. You can talk to staff about what you can do now, okay? And thank you, commissioners, for your thoughtful comments. Case number SD 23-056.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Albert Casillas, 845 North Motel Boulevard.
Do you affirm the testimony you're about to give today is the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Our second case today, it's going to be a what's called a modification request. The applicant's going to be Libin Underwood Engineering for Amigos del Sol LLC. And this property is located on Fair Acres Road, so it's on the corner of South Fair Acres and Chivalry Lane. Zoning is D1L, low-density residential limited zone. It's a 1 acre minimum. And this modification request is for access standards. The applicant's applying for a summary subdivision. Basically, they want to create 3 lots ranging in size from 1 acre to 3.65 acres, which meets the D1L minimum acreage. But they're proposing to have 2 of those lots access South Fair Acres Road. And on, when La Mancha Estates was, first platted, there were some notes on the plat that was restricting access from residential lots straight onto South Fair Acres Road. So basically, that's what the modification that we're here for today, that's what it's all about, that they want access to South Fair Acres for 2 lots, not all 3 of them. This is the location map. This is this triangle-shaped property that's basically, the 5 acres as it sits right now. To the east, you'll have the existing La Mancha Estates. Chivalry Lane is right here, and then this is South Fair Acres Road. And here is a close-up aerial of the property. If you drive down South Fair Acres Road right now, it's basically going to be full of vineyards right now. That's what it is. It's all vineyards out there. on that triangle-shaped lot. You have South Fair Acres right here, that's Chivalry Lane. And the zoning map, if you look at it, I mean, you can tell that it's all D1, D1L. And, you know, I kind of touched base already, you know, upon this. You know, La Mancha Estates goes way back. When it was recorded and replatted, you know, there were some notes on there that basically said, yeah, you can't have access to South Fair Acres Road. Last week on Thursday, we did take this request to our Development Review Committee. That committee is basically composed of, you know, different directors here within the county. You have somebody from engineering, flood, fire marshal, Parks and Rec, and community development. So when we took this request to the Development Review Committee, they looked at the request and basically, you know, they did give a positive recommendation to this board. They basically stated that let's see here, to grant access to South Fair Acres Road from the shared driveway of 2 proposed parcels, as the impact to South Fair Acres Road would be minimal with the addition of a shared driveway due to the original condition that no direct access was allowed to South Fair Acres Road. So that's one other thing that I'm going to point out. Even though it's for 2 lots, they're not proposing 2 driveways. They're going to have one shared common driveway for both lots. So. And, you know, on the property right now, you know, it's a triangle-shaped parcel. There are some vineyards out there. It's only going to result in three lots. Water is available. It's provided by the city of Las Cruces, and wastewater will be through individual septic tanks, and access will be from South Fair Acres Road. And one of the lots will access Chivalry Lane. And once again, that's the aerial photo for the subject parcel. And this is the proposed plat right here. So we'll have the larger piece. It's 3.65 acres. They're basically retaining all of the existing vineyards that are there. Their access will be off of Chivalry Lane, and these are going to be the 2 proposed lots: the 1 acre and then the 1.6 acre lot right here. And here on the plat, they're depicting, you know, what the shared access is where it's gonna be located. And just a site plan, the idea, like I said before, is to retain all the vineyards that are here, and then possibly, you know, keeping some of the other, you know, the other vineyards for the other 2 lots. And I just zoomed in on that picture so we can kind of see the dimensions of what's being proposed. You basically have a shared access that's going to be about 120 feet long. You know, it's 60 and 60 right here for each one.
Excuse me real quick. On lot 1A, where would be the access to that? How would they access?
Are you talking about this one right here?
Yes.
That one's going to be off of Chivalry Lane.
Okay.
It's right over here. And I'll show you some pictures right now. And then, you know, just going back in time when La Mancha was first platted out here, you know, even back then, the idea was to have, you know, a road, you know, breaking in through the south tip of that triangle-shaped lot. Of course, you know, after having it replatted so many times, you know, they scrapped this proposal right here. And when we look at one of the original notes, if we look at number 11 on here, no direct access to residential lots from South Fair Acres Road. So that's kind of like what's triggering this modification request right here. And when they did a second, where there was a second phase approved or another replat, you know, the original plan was to have a couple lots on that triangle-shaped lot, but they did a replat and they basically ended up combining the whole thing. They got rid of that road that was coming down through here, and they basically just ended up with the 5 acre lot with the vineyards. So here I'm standing right next to the property. I'm looking south on South Fair Acres Road. You can see, you know, the existing vineyards that are there. You know, looking north. You know, that's just what's on the property right now. That's the intersection of Sandman Drive. And here I'm basically standing at the southern tip of that parcel. And then there is an EBID ditch that was you know, buried. It went underground, and basically this is the eastern property line of that parcel. It extends all the way to it's basically from here all the way to Chivalry Lane. And now I'm looking back from Chivalry Lane, so I'm basically looking south onto the existing parcel. And then that's over here, that's the intersection of Chivalry and Software Acres. And, you know, like I said before, you know, the DRC is basically made up of department directors. Under the code, when it comes to the P&Z, looking at modifications, that's basically the only, you know, the sentence that we have under the duties of the P&Z, which is to review and recommend modification and alternative design requests pursuant to the subdivision and design standards. When looking at these modifications or deviations, they basically have to look at a couple of things: that it's not going to be detrimental to the public health, safety, or welfare, and not be materially injurious to properties or improvements in the area of notification, and result in greater conformance with the specifications of this chapter. And then so under the P&Z, yeah, I mean, it does say on there that deviations and modifications shall be reviewed by the Planning and Zoning Commission. Those were the properties that were notified. You know, this is what we did for public notification. If you look at your packet, there was a letter, not really against the request that was being proposed. They did have concerns about possibly future dwellings blocking, you know, the view of the mountains and that kind of stuff. So really, the only thing that we can enforce is just what's allowed under the D1L zone when it comes to height restrictions for dwellings. In our analysis, you know, I've pretty much, you know, already gone through all this right here. Water will be provided by City of Las Cruces. It's D1L zone. We're here because, you know, there's a note on some of the old replats that limits access to Software Acres Road. And then also the DRC did give a positive recommendation to that modification. So based on the following findings, we are going to be recommending approval for this modification request. Those findings are included in your packet, but you know, we're basically bringing forward the recommendation from the DRC. You know, basing it off of you know, that they believe that the impacts were not going to be you know, significant to, you know, from what's being recommended. We also believe that the modification request will not be detrimental to the public health, safety, or welfare to surrounding properties. So with that said, you know, that's the end of my presentation. I do have the engineer, Zach Libben, here present, representing the property owner, and the staff does stand for questions.
Albert, on this plat, is that, so it's lot, what is it, 1A-3? That's not going to, so as it's presented, is that going to present a problem that they're going to come in and ask for a variance to setback standards? Or is the lot big enough to accommodate a fairly, because these are large homes?
They're large, and that's just, you know, it's a conceptual drawing, basically.
Yeah.
You know, that's just, you know, where they're thinking that they're going to be putting down basically the floor plan for the proposed home. Of course, you know, anything that comes in will have to comply with setbacks. But right now, you know, we're not looking at a variance to setbacks. It's just a modification request. If they do come in with a building permit, you know, we'll have to look at, you know, what's being proposed then.
Well, my question is, I mean, it's an odd lot configuration.
It is.
And that configuration isn't going to create a problem for us later on, is it? They're going to come in ask for a variance to setback standards?
It might, but I mean, we are correct on making the statement that the properties are large enough, you know, to accommodate a home. It's a 1 acre and then it's a 1.6 acre lot. So if they do come in with any kind of variance request, of course, we have to look at it then, but if they're not meeting the request right off, it might be considered a self-imposed hardship, and we'll have to look at it on a case-by-case basis.
Well, here's the problem that I see. If we approve that, so we've created that lot configuration. If I'm the property owner, I come in and I say, you created the lot configuration, I can't fit the house that I want on there. You need to give me a variance so that I can build a house on it. So my question is, ahead of time, should we approve that lot configuration as it's proposed? I mean, it's such a strange way to create a lot. Did anybody on the DRC look at that?
And sorry, what was that?
Did anyone on the DRC look at it?
Yeah, all the DRC members looked at the proposal. I basically had the same PowerPoint. But, you know, the applicant's representative is here, you know, he can probably address that and see why they're proposing this configuration. There might be a chance to modify that request.
Okay.
And minimize any potential future, you know, variances.
All right, let's talk to him. Any questions of Albert?
I have a question, Chair. The surrounding homes, are they on septic tank or city sewer?
Everybody out there is pretty much on septic.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Let's talk to Mr. Libin.
Before we go, Mr. Chair, I have a question. Back to your point, if this is approved, what we're approving is for the access. That I don't know that that actually means that we approve the lot configuration.
Albert?
I think me and Christina had a discussion previously, but right now what's in the summary subdivisions are still administrative approvals. You know, we still can sign off on them, you know, at the administrative level, but we can't sign off on a modification. And that's what's, you know, before, you know, this board.
So at the moment, to Commissioner Lear's question, approving the access doesn't approve the summary subdivision.
That's correct.
All right. Okay. Zach? Oh, Janine or Christine, would you swear him in, please?
Zachary Libin, 1121 Birch Drive, Las Cruces, New Mexico.
Do you affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners.
Morning.
We were requested to split this parcel, this triangle parcel as shown, because a portion of that existing vineyard is just not healthy enough to be productive as is the rest of the vineyard. So the portion, the north portion that's to remain as a vineyard will remain as a vineyard. And the south portions, some of these aerials, you can't quite see, but the vineyard in that southern triangle just isn't healthy, productive enough. It's got to be related to the soil or something that it's not doing well there. And so obviously the idea is to create two lots that could be homes there, and still keeping, so the idea is to still keep with the sort of theme of the Mesilla Vineyards. With these, I'd like to address a couple issues and then come back to that. As Mr. Casillas's presentation, very nice presentation, covered it. It is zoned correctly. The intent is to keep as much of the vineyard as possible, and this configuration does that. And it is an odd lot configuration. Previous comments were addressed that it would be unfortunate to remove any vineyard from the area. And it's obvious that you can't force a farmer or anyone to grow a crop because for aesthetic purposes, but somebody would like to drive by your whatever. But the intent is to keep as much of the vineyard as possible. The dividing line between the track 1A and the other two is an existing ditch. And so that's sort of a hard set limit there. And then as this graphic shows specifically, it's got some green highlighting added to it. And the point of that is to show that those two lot owners could keep some vineyard. And that jog in the proposed jog in the lot line is for that intent too, that a portion of that vineyard could stay. And those little house pads shown there are quite large house pads to show that you could fit a large house, not intended to really address setback issues. They are large enough lots that you could very, very easily fit a house without addressing without being limited by setbacks. Again, as noted, that long triangle portion is interesting. You couldn't put a house at the south tip of that, but there's definitely other areas that you could keep a house and choose to also keep some vineyard in place. It was noted that the original La Mancha Estates plat had that restriction, but as Albert pointed out, there was a road shown there too. The first replat that was actually put into place, and then all the subsequent plats no longer had that note and also no longer showed that road. And the intent was to keep this in vineyard to go with the theme, but as I noted, it's just not productive enough to keep it in vineyard for that portion. I think I addressed all my notes. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I have a question. What is the minimum lot size for this area?
1 acre without community sewer.
1 acre.
Alex, you okay?
No questions, thank you.
Dan, Mario? No. Okay. So are you related to Jim?
I am. I'm the son.
So just full disclosure, say hi to your dad for me.
Yes, sir.
And I should also mention, I'm pretty familiar with this parcel because these grapes are used at the winery that I work at, Rio Grande Winery. So I haven't been on the property, but I've been on Fair Acres and looked at it. I've actually mapped the types of grapes that are on this property. And I know that speaking to the Hills, one of the owners of Rio Grande Winery, and to the winemaker, Richard McDonald, that he is not happy with the production of that part of the parcel. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone in opposition or,
No, sir, nobody signed up.
okay.
Chair, just one more comment, just setbacks for D1L. It's 20 feet in the front, and then on the side and the rear, it's 10 feet.
Okay. Thank you, Albert. We have any questions? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion, we move to approve as presented.
Second?
Second.
Mario, is that you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Eileen, call a roll, please.
Commissioner Lear,
Yes.
Commissioner Odanga,
Yes.
Commissioner Jimenez,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Fisher,
Yes.
Chair Zerniak.
Yes. Motion approved. Thank you. Say hi to your dad for me. Case number SU 24-008.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Albert Casillas, 845 North Motel Boulevard.
Do you affirm the testimony you're about to give today is the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Thank you.
And Commissioners, before I start, does anybody need a break? Or we're all good?
I'm
We're
good.
good, I'm good.
Okay. And then just to clarify, if you look at your agenda, the last two cases, it's basically, the same applicant, same representative. So what I'm gonna try to do is, but basically what I did, I combined both cases under one PowerPoint. I'll go through the SUP first, and then, I'll stand for questions for the SUP. and then I'll move on forward to the variance. But in the end, we'll have to take two separate votes, one for the special use permit and then one for the variance. So with that said, the county is basically, the property owner, the applicant, and I do have the representative, I believe, Jessica, she is following us through WebEx. So the special use permit, this is going to be for a 190-foot tall wireless community facility. It's a special use permit. This property is located in Salem, New Mexico. The zoning is county property, so it does have that institutional zone on it. It will be located, the property's 9 acres, but the site is going to be a 50 by 50 area. It's going to be fenced in, or that's basically where this cell tower is going. And when you look at the location map, you have the old highway that goes up to Garfield this way, and then to Hatch if you're heading south. That's the 9-acre parcel here, and this is the community of Salem, New Mexico. You'll have I-25 over here just as a point of reference. And this is the aerial for the 9 acres. The site, the 50 by 50 side, it's basically going to be located here on the south eastern corner of that parcel. So the property itself, it's been public in nature. There's been improvements that are there that consist right now of a soccer field. There's a playground area, and then there's also a basketball court. Access will be from Salem Street, which is paved. It's county maintained. And this institutional zone, I mean, it's county owned, and basically this park was established. We had an interim use permit back in 1994, and that's how the park ended up coming into existence. And then just also a little bit of history on this. Last year on July 25th. The Board of County Commissioners, they did approve a state purchasing contract for construction of communication towers in Salem, New Mexico. The intent was to improve public safety communications in the northern section of the county and allow for improved broadband and cellular service in the area. So there was a funding in the amount of $315,000 paid out through the ARPA critical infrastructure / capital outlay construction account. And the recommendation for the use of those ARPA funds was approved by the BOCC on June of 2021. There was a community meeting held back on February of last year to present the proposed Salem Tower project. When we look at the aerials, that's Salem Street right here. And that's about the proposed, this is where the tower is going to be located. Down here, we do have a chili processing plant that's owned by the Franzois. And curiously enough, when we look at the parcel map, the parcel basically just surrounds the building here, but everything else is owned by the state of New Mexico. So it's all state land down here too. And, well, here we go. I mean, when we look at the zoning map, you see that the facility where the Franzois used to process chili and onions, it's an I-2 zoning designation, but pretty much everything else around it, it's all owned by the state. This is our, the county's 9 acres, and then we have the town of Salem.
Excuse me, Albert, number 12 is the Franzois?
Number 12?
Is that what you're saying?
No, I-2. So that's I-2 for industrial right here.
I-2?
Yeah. So the zoning I-2, it's medium intensity or medium industrial.
Oh, I see. You're, okay, thank you.
Yeah. It's just a zoning abbreviation. But so this right here, it's basically this. That's what it is. That's what's being depicted on that zoning map.
It's number 36, okay.
And then, of course, along with the special use permit, we're also applying for a variance to setback standards for the tower. Here's a site plan basically depicting the property lines right here. So this would be the southeast corner. This would be the location of the tower. This is the 50 by 50 compound right here where the tower is going to be located. That's Salem Street right here, and they're basically creating a 20-foot right-of-way easement that's going to be used to access the facility. And that's just a close-up of the, you know, the site plan. And basically what I included on here is just an elevation drawing of the proposed tower, and just included an example of what it looks like, or what it would look like. What I've also included, and this was submitted as well, was just, you know, we're looking at the improved coverage of, of what happens if, if the tower gets approved. So improved coverage would be in orange by adding 5 radio sites to the state's currently planned coverage of blue, and then portable on-street talking coverage. So this tower is just, it's not gonna be the only tower that's being proposed. There's other towers that are being added, around the county. We might see some of those coming before this board if it's, if it falls under our jurisdiction, but a lot of those are within state land. "39 letters of notification were mailed out. Signs were posted on the, on the property. There was one email in opposition to the request was received from one of the, the Francois family members. Their concern was, that they do go out there and they dust their crops. So they were concerned about the tower being near some of the areas that they farm. Another letter that I included on there was by one of the residents. They were concerned that basically the park was going to be taken down. So she had other concerns about, making that park better. So all that was forwarded over to the facilities and parks director. But of course, like we saw on the aerials and the site plan, it's just going to be a 50 by 50 lease area where the tower is going to be located. So those were some of the concerns that I received. Those were the properties that were notified. So here I'm standing on Salem Street. I'm basically looking south on the property. This is still county property over here, so approximately this will be somewhere around here will be the location of that tower. And as we look more into the county's property, it's surrounded by some of that ag land. And then that's the facility that's owned by the Francois, and this is the community park that's there. And this is just looking down on Salem Road. So basically, they're going to be creating a 20-foot access easement from this point, heading towards the south towards the tower.
I have a quick question. On the 20-foot easement, would that be encroaching into the soccer field there?
No.
No.
Let me go a little bit further back.
Are there no restrictions on the height of that tower?
There are, and I'll get to those when we talk about the variance, because that's basically what the variance is for. But when it comes to a tower, setbacks are supposed to be 110% of what's being proposed.
Right, but I mean on the actual height of the tower. I'm concerned about the potential for dusting crops and such.
Well, there are restrictions depending on what the zoning is on your parcel. This one's just a little bit different because it's an institutional zone. It's a county-owned property. So if we look at the land use matrix, when we look at institutional zone, well, there's nothing there. So we figured out that basically allowing people to be notified and bringing this before the Planning and Zoning Commission, that this was the best recourse that we had. Do we have height restrictions on an institutional zone for towers? my answer would be that we don't. There are some restrictions on industrial zones and stuff like that, or commercial, or even in residential zones. Those are really, really limited. This one being an institutional zone, it's, there's really nothing there.
So it doesn't affect the park?
It doesn't. When we look at thought I had it on here, sorry. This would be the corner property right here, and the park would be way, over here to.
Yeah, go to the air photo. Yeah.
So this is a fenced-in area for the soccer field, and you got the basketball courts and the playground, and the tower is going to be over here.
Okay. So my question is this: why is the parcel for the tower? It's 50 by 50, and you're saying it should be how big?
No, I don't have a concern about the 50 by 50 area where that's going to be enclosed, that's going to be fenced in.
Right.
So within that 50 by 50, they'll have the tower, they'll have all the ground equipment, everything that, that makes that tower function. And that's located, well, it's located here on the southeast corner. And then when we look to the site plan here, let me go to the close-up. So that would be the 50 by 50 area. That's the center of the tower, and about 34 feet from that fence to the property line right here.
So it should be 110 feet?
It should be.
Or 110%?
So this, I mean, well, the variance, it's going to be for that, because technically the setback to the tower should have been, 110% of, 195, so
214.5.
well over 200 feet. No, so that setback, they meet that setback going to the, the property line that's right next to Salem, the street. But on the rear, they're basically just trying to push it as far back as they can onto our property.
What is your purpose for the setback? Is it in case the tower goes over, or?
That's one of the
Is that
concerns,
basically it?
that's what's in our code. But now, on recent or on previous submittals, a lot of those towers are already engineered that in case, in the rare case that there is an accident and the tower falls, it's basically designed to fall upon itself. But, that's what we have in our code anyways.
Fall in itself?
Yeah. But what we have in our code, it's 110%.
So to go back to Teresa's question, is there some FAA regulation that's going to prevent them from crop dusting on the Franzoy property because that tower is there?
You know what, I'm not too sure about that. Maybe, the applicant can address that question.
Mr. Chair, could I address that? Since I've done crop dusting in the past, both fixed wing and helicopter, looking at the fields here, number 38 and 37, it seems to me that you would be able to crop dust easily without any interference. There's no guy wires on this tower, right? It's a structural tower.
It's a structural tower, yes.
Okay, so there's nothing coming outside of that 50 by 50?
It's all going to be contained within the 50.
Okay, I don't see that there would be an issue with crop dusting either one of those parcels. There seems to be plenty of room.
Okay, thank you.
I think this is where I left off, but basically here's a picture of the, the existing facilities that the county has out there. And that's just a close-up. And I think that's already, that's on the other property, I believe. So when we look at SUPs, we got to look at the decisional criteria of 204D, and then we also have a section on wireless communication facilities. When we look at SUPs, we got to look at potential traffic flows, on the need for commercial or residential activity and how it complies with the comp plan, potential water and sewer needs, infrastructure, if infrastructure is available, any environmentally sensitive areas, the impact of the proposed SUP to surrounding properties, and any implementation of best management practices. So that's the criteria that we have for special use permits. For traffic flows and impacts, the only impacts that we can see, it's just going to be during the construction of the, of the tower. It is going to be, it is an unmanned facility. They might go out there for maintenance maybe once a month. But for the construction of the tower, there might be about 6 weeks, that they're out there. You'll have construction workers. So that'll be about the only potential traffic impacts that we can see at this point. The need for new commercial activity and how it complies with Plan 2040. We do have a statement from you know, the applicant or our consultant, and basically they talk about you know, the purpose being, you know, that there was a radio antenna that was called the Caballo Tower. So this was up in Sierra County that basically had to be removed, and you know, this is basically replacing that tower. They needed it to address current dead spots in public safety radio coverage along North Interstate 25 and utilize a site within our county. And then, of course, the new tower will also be able to accommodate, you know, more MHCs for radio systems that the state's currently implementing. When we look at the Comp Plan 2040, we do have some goals that uphold or that would be of a positive effect to this special use permit. G5.3, which is increased services to colonias in other rural areas, will support this special use permit. G9.1, maintaining public services while keeping them affordable. And then G9.3, continue to support fire, rescue, and emergency services. I will note that, you know, just based on the height that's being proposed, there is, you know, possibly, you know, it is tall enough to accommodate up to 4 additional carriers. So if, you know, somebody wanted to partner up, you know, then that would be a site for at least 4 additional ones.
4 additional providers?
Providers, yes. Potential water and sewer needs, no water or sewer are needed for the operation of the cell tower. You know, when you know, when they're out there building it, you know, there might be some temporary sanitation facilities for the workers. Water and sewer are not required, you know, like I said before. The existing county maintained paved road, Salem Road, and proposed 20-foot access easement will be adequate for construction and operations on the site. We don't know of any areas that are historical significance out there or any endangered species that have been discovered on the property. And then the impact, you know, I mean, this was already, you know, the funding for this project was approved by the, you know, by the Board of County Commissioners back in 2023. And, you know, the idea is to improve public safety communications in the northern section of the county. Best management practices. So the applicant will work with staff, I mean, the county, I guess the county will work with ourselves, I guess, to implement the best management practices. One thing I'm going to note, it's because it is county property and it is for county use, it's going to have to go through the state for building permitting. You know, we can't sign off on our own projects, so it'll have to go through the state. So they'll have to meet all their requirements as well. So our findings for the special use permit, you know, they're included in your packet, but we do believe that this request meets the decisional criteria for special use permits. The zoning is an institutional zoning district. The property will be, I mean, the tower will be engineered to allow for co-location, so it meets that section of the code, and funding has already been approved by the Board of County Commissioners. So we believe that this request, you know, we are recommending that it be approved for the special use permit. So with the conditions that case number B24006 be approved, and I'll be talking about that right now in a bit, and that the ground-mounted accessory equipment and tower shall be secured and enclosed with a solid wall or opaque fence not less than 8 feet in height. So basically we're saying that, you know, that 50 by 50 compound needs to be enclosed. And then of course, also the approval of the variance for setbacks, which I'll be talking about next. So for now, you know, that's the end of my presentation for the special use permit. So if you have any questions on that, or if you just want me to continue with the PowerPoint and start talking about the variance.
Pleasure of the commission. Do you want to vote on this and then hear the variance?
I'd prefer we vote on one at a time and move forward to provide clarity to the public.
My question, Mr. Chair, is that the vote on this if we're going to separate the two, then one of those conditions would not be part of the motion. Because part of that motion is to approve the setback, is one of the conditions.
Mr. Chair, we could move forward and vote on the following item first, come back and vote on the SUP, special use permit, second.
And Chair, just for clarification, so we're not saying that, we're saying that if the SUP is approved, one of the conditions has to be that the variance is also approved, not that the variance is automatically approved. We're just saying, yeah, if we do approve the SUP, then the variance also has to be approved. So that's just a condition.
So if we separate these, there's the potential, probably not likely, but the potential, the first one could be approved and the second one not approved.
Yeah,
We have to vote on them separately.
yes.
Yeah, yeah.
We do have somebody here present, and then also we have Jessica Harris. I believe she's still on WebEx. Will, is she still on?
Yes, I think she is.
So she's online. Okay. Jessica,
Yes,
no,
Good morning.
good morning.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Jessica Harris, 1562 Park Street, Castle Rock, Colorado, 80109.
Do you affirm the testimony you're about to give today is the truth under penalty of law?
Yes.
Thank you.
Jessica, is there anything that you wanted to add to Albert's presentation?
No, I had nothing.
Okay. Does the commission have any questions for her?
I just have a couple of questions real quick. On the tower itself, I know all these towers are now coming up with, I don't know if it was in the proposed budget or not, but it will not be like camouflage, like the palm trees that they make and stuff like that, because most of them that they're coming up are being a little bit more modern. And I was just wanting to see if that's something that has been thought of because of the community around there, not just have a normal looking tower there. And then second of all, my second question is that if the county has this public input, the email that we got, that if we have if the county's going to be getting any type of money from this tower, if there's anything that they're going to use to improve the park for the kids, since they're doing the tower, and it would be a nice thing to have the best of both worlds, the tower and a nice looking park.
Well, for your first question, as part of the design of the tower, there was no sort of exterior enhancement that was going to be included. I know just through my past experience, adding like palm trees are usually reserved for monopoles. And this is going to be a self-support tower. And then in regards to your second question, ComNet is not or was not involved in the beautification of the park, as this project was solely for the tower. And so I'm unable to answer that question at this time.
I think Commissioner Aranda's question was, does the county receive any income from the tower being there?
No, they do not,
They do not.
because it's currently being constructed for county use by the county.
Okay.
So Chair, just to touch base on your question, Commissioner Odanga, my response to Alexia Lanis was when it came to that question about potential funding was that, well, in the end, it's the Board of County Commissioners who have the authority to issue, different fundings for different, county projects. For the proposal that's being present today, it is for a county, it's basically a radio tower for the county, for county use. But in the future that we do, if we do start getting, applicants for co-location from other potential carriers, then there might be, additional funding. But then it will be up to the county commissioners to decide where those fundings are gonna go.
So Albert, what was the result of the community meeting?
That was something that was held by our own IT department. And just from what I understood was that it wasn't well attended, I believe. So that's all the info that I was able to get.
Okay. I think Commissioner Aranda's question is a good one, though, whether or not the community gains any benefit from the fact that tower.
Well, I mean,
I know they get better communication. I understand that.
yeah, and funny enough, this morning I was talking with one of the community members out there, and our phone call got dropped like 2 times. So I thought that was just a little bit interesting. But yes, I mean there is the benefit of potentially adding more coverage out there for the community's cellular service. I've also heard that the internet is pretty slow out there too. So.
And I know the problem with your question about the camouflage is an obvious question to ask, but I just never seen a 195-foot palm tree or pine tree. I actually think it would be more problematic if they tried to do that. But it's a legitimate question.
But and then once again, that email was forwarded over to the Parks Director as well. So.
Parks and Recreation, yeah. I'm just, I read the email and it shows that, there's a bunch of rocks and, what have you, weeds around the area, the park area. And I'm just basically thinking I'm a little kid and playing in that park and all I see people working out there just building a tower, but no benefit for us, but that's just my point of view, but.
Who's the commissioner for that district?
I believe that's, go ahead.
Might be Commissioner Sanchez.
Yeah, it's Commissioner Sanchez.
It's up north. Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, Albert, before you sit down, just real quickly, has MIRVDA or DASO provided any input regarding the construction of the tower? I saw you mentioned something about E911 earlier.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
just curious
no,
whether they provide any input is all.
no input from them. Probably the fire marshal department.
I saw that one, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So do we have a motion?
We do not have a motion on the table, no, sir.
So I need a motion.
I'll make the motion. Based on findings of fact, staff analysis, and the proposed wireless communication facility meeting, move that we issue conditional approval of case SU 24-008.
Second.
Eileen, did you get the motion in the second? Okay. You want to call the roll, please?
Commissioner Lear,
Yes.
Commissioner Odanga,
Yes.
Commissioner Jimenez,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Fisher,
Yes.
Chair Zerniak.
Yes. Motion approved. To the variance, Albert.
Thank you. And then for our, I'll just go ahead and move forward to
For clarification, was that for the variance or the SUP?
SUP.
The
SUP.
Okay.
And then so the second part of this now, I'm going to move over and talk about the variance. Eileen, you probably should swear me in just one more time, just in case.
Good morning. Please state your name and address for the record.
Albert Casillas, 845 North Motel Boulevard.
Do you affirm the testimony you're about to give today is the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Thank you.
And then, so commissioners, now moving forward over with the variance, the only difference here is that we do have a different set of decisional criteria when it comes to reviewing variances. We have to make sure that a variance is not going to constitute a grant of special privilege, that it's not going to be detrimental to the public health, safety, or welfare, or be materially injurious to properties or improvements in the area of notice, that there's a physical hardship resulting from the size or shape of the, of the parcel or from existing structures on the parcel, and that the variance upholds the purpose and the intent of this chapter. So when we're looking at the decisional criteria, does it grant well, first of all, we believe that it's not going to be a grant of special privilege. This facility will be a part of a planned network of radio towers that will improve coverage and address current dead spots in public safety radio along North I-25. Even though the property is county-owned, the zoning provisions and development standards of the UDC still apply. We believe that it's not going to be detrimental to the public health, safety, or welfare. And it's not going to be materially injurious to properties or improvements in the area of notice. This facility is going to improve radio communication for public safety. It's going to allow for future support of 5G, fixed broadband, and FirstNet service expansion in the area. It's going to increase tower space for mobile cellular service providers, and there's very low risk of the tower falling. But if that happened, the tower would still be contained within the county property, since the center of the tower would be, at least 240 feet away from the northern property line, which is nearest to any residential area. We saw on the aerials that everything below that, it's all farmland. It's pretty much vacant.
So the 215-foot radius from the center of that tower is all within county
It's all
property?
within the county, yes.
Not to the south.
Well, not to the south, no, to, well, at least to any residential area. To the north, it will meet that radius. To the south, it's about 30 feet away from the property line. But we saw in the aerials that to the south of the county, to the county's property, it's all farmland, it's all vacant.
And it's state land, right?
And it's state land.
State land,
Leased probably to the Franzois.
okay.
Is there a physical hardship on the property? I will note that this location was deemed the best choice, as it was on county land and adjacent to local power. It also provided the best signal broadcast up I-25. There was a radio study done by the Federal Engineering in January of 2022, determining that this was the best location to provide radio coverage for the area. There were other locations that were considered for the tower, but this was deemed the best. Those other locations included on north of Salem on BLM land. The issue with that was that there was no access to power and that it required solar infrastructure. Southeast of Salem and on another county property, it was in a floodplain and no access to power. It required solar infrastructure. West of Hatch on county land, no access to power, and it required solar infrastructure. So there were other locations that were looked at, and this was deemed the best. And does it uphold the purpose and intent of this chapter? We believe it does. It does meet that requirement, and like I said it before on the SUP, there's several goals of the comp plan that are also being met. So with that said, our staff findings, we do believe that it meets the decisional criteria for variances. Basically just everything that I stated right now. We are recommending, once again, conditional approval for this request. The condition being that the SUP gets approved, which already has, and also that there is some kind of a secured and enclosed fencing, no less than 8 feet in height, surrounding the 50 by 50 area. And with that said, that's the end of the PowerPoint for the variance, and we stand for questions on that.
Eileen, did anybody sign up to speak?
No, sir.
But I will just let me ask. There is a community member from
Yep.
the community of Salem. I don't know if you have anything to say. No.
May I get a clarification, please? So what you're saying is that case V24006 is for the setback and the 8-foot wall? Is that correct?
The 8-foot wall is just our recommendation for securing the area. That's just a condition. The variance is for the setbacks.
It's strictly the setback?
Is there anyone else that needs to speak?
Unless Jessica has any comments on this.
Jessica, did you have anything else?
I do not.
Okay, we don't have to swear. We're okay. Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, move approval of case number SU 24-008 based on the facts, the findings of facts, staff
Mar-
analysis.
Mario, it's a variance case.
Oh, that's right, we're on the 00. V2, amend that to be conditional approval of case number V24-006, based off of staff recommendations and conditional approval that ground-mounted accessory equipment and tower shall be secured and enclosed with a solid wall or opaque fence not less than 8 feet in height.
Second?
Albert, do we even have to mention the first part of this? Doesn't matter, does it? Because it's already approved. Okay,
We're good.
all right. So I've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Or questions?
I've just had one comment that if we approve this variance also, I know that they had discussed about other networks coming into the tower. If we could follow up with maybe Commissioner Hernandez and maybe talk with him in regards to if we do get other providers that are using the tower to help us, you know, try to get that part going as far as that. That was just a comment of mine, but
On the 100-foot towers, I think there was a minimum of two providers that's required, so I would imagine we would have many more than that on this one.
Some income, yeah. I support, yeah, that's a good idea.
okay.
I'm actually thinking about writing him a letter
Mm-hmm.
from the commission,
Okay.
and I'll bring it to the commission for approval, and then we can send it to them. Okay, anything else? Eileen, you want to call the roll, please?
Commissioner Fisher,
Yes,
Commissioner Jimenez,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Lear,
Yes.
Commissioner Odonga,
Yes.
Chair Zerniak.
Yes. Motion is approved. Thank you very much. Administrative approvals?
Chair, we have none today.
None? Any staff input? We're okay? Commission input? I just want to mention again, thank you to the 2 new commissioners. We appreciate your service.
Welcome.
pleasure.
I think we can entertain a motion for adjournment. All those in-
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 So moved.